Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's still Sunday, but it's 9:13 in the morning, and it's gorgeous outside. Can you even believe it? It's like, I don't know, the weather around here. It's like one day it's hot as hell, and the next day it's beautiful, and pretty soon, it's going to be like 30 degrees. The weather it changes like a light switch. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? But inspiration strikes again. And you got to go with the flow. That's what they say. And, I did a post yesterday. And I'm doing a collaboration with my daughter. She's 13. And she's a great artist. And she's a great writer, too. And she's really something. I've had a relationship with her all my life where I got to be with her all the time because, I didn't have a job away from home. My business was my job, and so I got to see her all the time. I have so many great memories, and she was my shadow when she was young. I mean, just everywhere, she was with me, and just some of the best memories that somebody could have, I'm so glad that history is mine, and it can't be changed. And she lives with me full time now. I'm a single dad, and she's 13. And, she's starting to branch out. She's starting to think differently, right? And be a little more independent and thinking about her future and things like that. And, you start to realize, that someday probably, she's going to start her own life, right? And building relationships and maybe having one and getting married and having kids, and all of that brings me to some memories, that I had when I was young, and one of them I've talked about it here before, but I remember one time I was sitting at the table, my dad was there, and I was holding this it's a bottle of ketchup, Hunt's ketchup, and I knew something about that business, that it was a family business. And I asked my father, how come we didn't have a family business? And he said, well, I don't know. It just, And I just somehow knew when I was a kid, I wanted my own family business. I wanted to be in a family business. I just wasn't interested in anything else, it made so much sense to me, And my mom was very entrepreneurial, and she actually opened up quite a few delis and even a restaurant. They never lasted very long because there was a lot of trouble in our household, and my mom and dad were having real big problems, and I mean like big problems, and I'll be talking about that someday because it was just really terrible. And any attempts for my mom to gain any traction with her entrepreneurial endeavors, were just met with cataclysmic results. It just never worked out. And to make matters worse, it's like in some of her more stronger efforts, I really wanted to be a part of it. And for whatever reason, she didn't think that I was, I don't know, somebody that should be involved in those things. And I just never really understood that, because in my mind, I just knew that I would be loyal. I knew that I would be all in. And, there just never was this effort on her part to include me, or, to try and draft me and to get me in. It was just something that she was doing with her business partners, and people who were high level, high money, and all that kind of stuff. And so, I did what most people did. I just wound up getting jobs, and I had some good ones and had some bad ones. And eventually I did start my own business about 17 years ago, this one here. But you ever heard of reparenting? That term, reparenting? Where you have an opportunity, life gives you opportunity to fill in the gaps, to capture, to recapture, to walk down a road that, was lost to you. You get a second chance. And I find myself in that position right now with my daughter. And we're going to do a collaboration. I asked her and she wants to do it. And I know that she's the perfect partner that I want. Dad and daughter, a power couple. That's what I see in my mind. And we're going to do a children's coloring book together. And I think, we're both going to do the writing, but she's going to be the illustrator, and she's damn good at it too. She's a damn good writer. And she's got an amazing imagination. I love her so much. She is my pride and my joy. And I think like a lot of single parents, there's times where I feel like I don't do enough, like I can't do enough, and that she's missing out on things that she should have, and there's a tendency to feel very responsible for that, and feel like, you're not doing good by your kids, and it's tough. If you're a single parent, you know what I mean. But I've really got this amazing foundation that she can choose to be a part of if she wants here at True Love Honey. It's totally up to her. It's here for her if she wants it. But I don't have to wait until she's old enough for that. I have an opportunity right now to connect with her with this project that we could do together, that we are going to do together. And it's something that I thought was just a dream. And what's so interesting about dreams is just how tangible they can be. And sometimes we think they're farther away than they need to be, than they are. And, I remember, like, to illustrate this feeling, it was like, when I had been in this business for some years, I remember remarking to myself saying, God, this business model was so easy in the beginning that I could have done it when I was 11 years old with the help of my father or my mother. And maybe by the time I was 20, I could have really been on my way. And I think that, what's amazing is like, probably a lot of you could relate to this. So many times in my life, like to pay the rent or whatever, I had to sell records or CDs, some of my music equipment and things that I had, just to make the rent. And you think that getting your hands on money is so difficult, it's so hard. And when you get older, get to be an old guy like me, 59, you start to see that, it was hard because you thought it was hard, because you didn't understand the way things really were. And you didn't have a lot of belief that things could be different. And maybe you didn't have someone in your life to show you that things could be different. That could be. And there's years that you can never get back. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it so that your present and your future is something that is more in keeping with your heart's desire, your dreams. Your reality can be what you want it to be, with a little bit of effort, of course, right? I see my daughter's potential, and it lights me up on the inside. It makes me so emotional. It's hard. It's hard to not cry when I think about it, because I've seen what entrepreneurism has done for myself and how it has liberated me in a very big way. My life story is not finished by any means, but I mean, a major portion of it is what it is. It's set in stone. But there's no question that it opens doors to a reality that you can't conceive until you're neck deep in it. And working for yourself and building a life for yourself from scratch takes a real leap of faith. And a lot of times, maybe most of the time, you got no money, you have no real plan. You just have a dream. And I can tell you that that's enough. That is enough. That's all you need. I started this business with $212, not $212,000, $212, right? And an empty tank of gas. I promise you this. There are no limits except the ones that you place on yourself. But back to this collaboration. Again, I find myself in this position, where I've been trying to get my daughter to do this coloring book, some kind of material that she would publish, that she would get published. And I would tell her that, I'll do it for you. I'll handle the mechanics of getting it, put together, bundled, but you got to do the work, But she just was not into taking on most of the aspects of the book by herself. And what I've noticed, it's like, I've noticed about my daughter is she likes to do things with me. She'll come to the door and she'll be like, I'm bored. I'm like, well, go do something, whatever, make yourself busy. But she wants to do something with me. She's like, can we play cards, or can we play Scrabble, or let's do something together. 14:14 on the timer. And I think to myself, it brings me back to what I was telling you about, like with my parents, and how I didn't have that. I could never even have imagined being in a position where, I could partner up with my mom or dad. And my daughter wants to partner with me. And I can't even begin to explain how that makes me feel inside. I have so many memories of her. How would she be jumping on my back? My back is bad. She jokes all the time how she broke my back. And it didn't matter how painful it was, but it just was so fun to just watch her jump and just listen to her scream with joy as she would jump in the air and land on my back. Just like, I even have so many pictures and videos of it, Amazing memories. I love her so much. And now we're going to be business partners in this project. And I'm so excited. And she is too, because she wants to do it with me. She doesn't want to do it by herself. She wants to do it with me. She wants to do it together. And it's a reminder why I want to come here and tell you the stories. So sometimes, we get so wrapped up in life, you guys, that we forget what we have. And we lose sight of how to nurture it, and what is in our power to bring new life into a relationship. And we're looking for other people or other circumstances to make a situation better or to bring more significance to the story. But we have the power to do that. And I don't think there's anybody better than you and me when it comes to our kids. We have to do that. We should do it. You won't be sorry, that's for sure. But maybe you'll build a partnership that will materialize and grow into something you could never dream possible. Well, you never know unless you try. Anyway, I hope that this inspired you. I hope that this story inspires you. I hope that it has given you some ideas. I hope that while you're watching this, you're saying, yeah, I could do this. Don't wait. Don't wait. Turn this video off and go find your kids and do it. Start it. Dream it. Sit down and say, look, we're going to do something together. What do you want to do? Let's do it. You make a commitment to start and finish that project together. Our kids need us. They want us, and they're only going to be 13 for a year. And it won't be long before they're getting married. Right? The time is now. It really is. Anyway, I hope your Sunday's good. I'm thinking about all of you. I love you. I wish you the best. I'll talk to you soon. It might be sooner rather than later. It's something in the air. I don't know what it is, but the energy is very conducive to two things I've noticed. One, I'm either completely exhausted, or two, I'm feeling extremely inspired. So I don't know, and I just find that the inspirational part helps more than, it actually helps you feel less tired. You know what I mean? I don't know, what moon cycles and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye.